Hey everyone, this is Harsh and this presentation is about organic LEDs. I've done this under the guidance of Professor Headley. Before starting this presentation, I would like to give an outline first. Initially, we're going to see the principle behind OLEDs. What are those? How they work? What are their advantages and disadvantages? Why we should use OLEDs instead of other LEDs and LCDs? And finally, the conclusion. The principle behind organic LEDs is electroluminescence. It is also known as EL. It is an optical and electrical phenomena in which a material emits light in response to the passage of electric current or strong electric field. Um, because of radiative recombination of electrons and holes in a semiconductor, the excited electrons release their energy as photons, which is light. Prior to recombination, electrons and holes may be separated either by doping the material to form a p-n junction or through excitation by impact of high energy electrons accelerated by strong electric field. The most common EL devices are composed of either powder, which has a primary application of lighting, or thin films, which are basically used for information display. These EL devices have the advantages of being self-emitting, consuming low power, having a wide view of angles, and having a fast switch speed. And that is why they are so popular in display industries. So I guess we have a good idea about EL. So now let's see what are OLEDs. An OLED consists of one or more semiconducting organic thin films sandwiched between two electrodes, one of which must be transparent. A simplified schematic diagram of a typical OLED would be shown in the next slide. The organic molecules are electrically conductive as a result of delocalization of electrons caused by conjugation over part or all of the molecules. These materials have conductivity levels ranging from insulators to conductors and are therefore considered organic semiconductors. The highest occupied and the lowest unoccupied molecular orbitals, which are also called as HOMO and LUMO of organic semiconductors, are analogous to the valence and conduction band of inorganic semiconductors. So I guess now we have a good idea regarding OLEDs and its principles. So now let's see how they work. So here's the figure which I told you earlier. I kept it here because I wanted to show you guys its structure while I'm gonna explain you how it works. I guess it's easy that way. So an OLED panel is typically composed of four primary layers, which you can see: the substrate, which act as a structural framework, the anode, which draws electrons, the cathode, which provides electrons, and the organic layer between. This layer is further divided into a conducting layer and an emissive layer. A conducting layer which basically provides the electron holes that the electron flowing through the layer can snap into, shedding energy in the process. And the emissive layer where the light is actually produced. And if you want to add some colors in it, it's just a matter of adding red, green and blue tinted plastic layers to the substrate. During the operation, a voltage is applied across the OLED such that the anode is positive with respect to the cathode. I couldn't find better figure than this, but I guess you can work it out. Let's see. Okay, anode are picked basically upon the quality of their optical transparency, electrical conductivity and chemical stability. A current of electrons flows through the device from cathode to anode as electrons are injected into LUMO of the organic layer at the cathode and withdrawn from the HOMO at the anode. This latter process may also be described as the injection of electron holes into the HOMO. Electrostatic force, which brings the electrons and holes towards each other and they recombine, forming an excision, a bound state of the electrons and holes. This happens closer to the emissive layer because In organic semiconductors, holes are generally more mobile than electrons. The decay of this excited state results in a relaxation of the energy level of the electrons, accompanied by emission of radiation whose frequency is in visible region. The frequency of this radiation depends on the band gap of the material, in this case the difference between the energy between HOMO and LUMO. So basically that's how it emits light, and I guess now we have seen its principle and its working. Now let's move to its advantages. So as you can see, it has a lot of advantages. So initially it's low power, so basically enormous energy can be saved for the society. Environmental impact associated with the reduction of the need of electricity, which can result in less air pollution, depletion of non-renewable sources of energy, and less greenhouse effect. It is also creating a new industry for lighting. New methods of power distribution and conduits are going on. It is self-luminous. OLEDs are self-luminous and thus do not require backlight diffusers or polarizers. There are abundant organic materials to produce a whole spectrum of visible lights. So it's quite flexible, like what kind of lights you want to show. OLEDs can be designed very easily because it can be fabricated on a plastic substrate, paving the way for flexible electronics. Also, it is easy to read, it's flexible in design, its image quality is really good, graphics, videos, product differentiation, it's way better than the LEDs and LCDs, and it also provides long battery life, and the list goes on and on. As you have heard that every coin has two sides, OLED doesn't differ with them. It provides a low mobility of holes and electrons because of its nature, its structure. Amorphous organic materials have charge localized in the form of radical ion, and it moves by interstitial hopping, and this hopping is from molecular site to a molecular site. This is intrinsically a less efficient process than in crystalline inorganic semiconductors. It also provides low stability at high brightness levels, and highly susceptible to degradation by oxygen and water molecules. Organic materials are very sensitive to oxygen and water molecules, which can degrade the device very fast. So the main current disadvantage of OLEDs are really short lifetime. Despite having its disadvantages, the question arises as why OLEDs are creating so much buzz in the display industry. One way to see is that today's semiconductor industries are focusing more towards low power circuit. Power consumption, its efficiency, it's the most debatable question from last 2 or 3 decades, I guess, and people are trying to improve that as much as they can. OLEDs are working and helping in their way. It is helping them to improve the power consumption problem and making the circuit more power efficient. Today the world is enjoying 4K resolution, which is about 4 times the normal resolution, which is 1080, and it is all because it's OLED's affordability and availability. It is affordable, and that's why it is available to most of the people around the world. Otherwise the 4K would be just for the rich people. So if you can see the figure, like you can see the difference when one side is LED and the other side is OLED. Why would someone will go on the other side where it is much power consuming and expensive, where the other side is the inverse? It doesn't make any sense. So because of this reasons, OLEDs are one of the most trending topic, and people are trying to work more and more, and they are trying to get over the disadvantages also. Now let's see the conclusion of this presentation. So now we have reached to a conclusion for this presentation, and I would like to conclude that OLEDs have improved the display industry way better than it was before. Research works are going on in improving the flaws that OLEDs have, like the lifespan and all, and if they are done, then in no time it will take over the whole display industry. I hope you like this presentation. I have mentioned some references below. If you want to know more, you can just go there and get your information. Thank you and have a nice day.